Don't buy anything. I made my dad promise. He said, but he was already distracted elsewhere. My family and I were in Marrakesh, and my sister and I wanted to buy new shoes. So we left our parents with the tour guide so that he could go to a women's collective rug workshop. Now, we all know that these places are scams. So I told him it was okay to look, but just not to buy anything. My father knows that I love rugs. I make them myself, I've studied them, and so I was like, if you're interested in anything, just wait until I'm back, please. My father is a very competent man. He moved to the US with $50 in his pocket, taught himself English, and now he owns property all over the world. You would think that he would be able to handle a carpet salesman. So we come back, we're happy with our new slippers, and I find my parents buying a rug, exactly what I told them not to do. There were layers and layers of rugs piled on top of each other, and in some areas it looked like pancakes, and there was a rug in the middle. It was like a little bit more subtle than the other rugs, and that was the one that they had picked. I wondered how much damage had been done. Now let me tell you, my favorite thing to do is to say, I told you so. It is not my fault that I am always right. And I could feel a really big I told you so coming. Once my dad let my little sister choose the color of his car, a decision that he immediately regretted. After I told him so, he refused to get it repainted, and he drove a baby blue Lexus for 6 years. So I asked him in Chinese, how much does this cost? And he quoted this astronomically high price. Next, I asked him how much he had haggled the merchant down. And he said he hadn't. This was insane to me. My dad grew up in communist China, where nothing is the real price and haggling is basically your national sport. So how did he just accept the price? So now we're whisper yelling at each other in Chinese. And I'm like, no one gives a damn that you shook hands. And he's like, oh, no, now I have to buy it, right? So I look at my mom and I'm like, please, just listen to me. This rug is not worth the price. And, she's not usually the big spender in the family, but she agrees with my father this time. She just tells me to relent so we can all move on. So my parents are adults. They make their own money. They can spend it however they like. So I let them buy this stupid rug for this stupid amount of money. I even help them carry it home. So we get to the door of the hotel, and my father looks at us and says, I think I got ripped off. Now I know what is going to come next, right? He says, we have to get our money back. And this means I have to get our money back. And I feel this big, hot, I told you so coming on. It has been growing since we left the shop. It has been building in the back of my throat. It's big as a baseball. It just wants to be let out. And I look at my dad, and he looks at me. And he kind of has this sheepish look on his face. And I say, I'll do what I can. I swallowed that I told you so. That was like the I told you so of all I told you so's. It was the I told you so that could have undone all of my childhood trauma, but I did not say it. Instead, I picked up the phone, I called the credit card company, I got the transaction refunded, then I had to figure out what to do with the actual physical rug. I had to threaten the tour guide to take us back to the shop. I had to give the shop owner an ultimatum to actually accept the rug back. And as you can imagine, there's no questions asked, 30-day tags attached guarantees in tourist trap parts of town. And it was hard, and it was frustrating, but I did it. And I'm not sure it would have been easier if I said I told you so. Because even though it wasn't my fault, it was definitely still my problem. That's what family means, right? That one person's problem is everybody's problem. In that moment, when my dad looked back at me, I realized that never in my life had he ever said, "I told you so," even though he had a million opportunities to do so. Because that's basically what a parent's job is, like to tell their kids stuff. And I think in that moment, I got to be my hero's hero, not by returning a rug, but by doing it with grace.